Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Rangers Reviews post-match briefing after Rangers 2-0 win at St Johnstone at McDermott Park. I'm Joshua Barrie. In my house, joined by Chris Jack, who is still there in Perth with his Wi-Fi just about holding up. Chris, you've watched the game. You've heard from the manager. How do you sum it up? 3 points down the road, some good bits, some bad bits, and that's about it.
I think that just about covers it, Josh, to be fair. I thought overall it was probably 6 out of 10 stuff. I think if I rate it any lower than that, probably being a wee bit harsh. If you rate it any higher than that, I think you're being slightly rose-tinted spectacles. I thought Rangers for large parts were no more than okay. I thought it was a bit stodgy and a bit slow at times, but two really good goals. Danilo takes his header really well, a nice move in the build-up to it, good header. Just what we're wanting to see from Danilo. And then 10 minutes or so to go, just what we want to see from Barrie Matondo. Again, another good move, some nice work in the middle of the pitch. Matondo using that now trademark pace to get away and producing a finish that if it had been Barrie Matondo of last season, it would have probably missed because we saw him do it so often. But he's a rejuvenated figure this season. He took it really well. I think you could see what it meant to him, his celebrations, and taking the acclaim from the fans behind the goal as well. So I think the two goals are certainly the positives. 3 points is the overwhelming positive from the game. And I think that's all Michael Beale can really take from it. As you say, it's 3 points and down the road and onto Thursday night we go.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was an okay first half. I think Beale said after on Sky that he thought the injury to Danilo kind of took the sting, the momentum out of the game somewhat for Rangers. They had a lot of control and they didn't concede any chances, but I think simultaneously, as Beale himself said on Sky before the game, they need to show real attacking identity, and that's what people want to see. They want to obviously enjoy the football they're watching. They need to show that is of paramount importance, and that was there in flashes, Chris. I thought you could still see at points that the confidence still lacks for certain individuals. I want to touch on players who I thought did quite well. I thought Ben Davies came in for his first appearance of the season and was solid, composed on the ball. Had that one moment where the back pass to Jack Butland was slightly short, but focusing first on the defence, it was quite solid from Rangers. And they conceded a lot of free kicks, and maybe in months gone by that would have been a bit more precarious, but generally Jack Butland was quite quiet, and I thought Ben Davies came in and had a good game today.
We also spoke yesterday, Josh, on the show, and we produced our predicted 11s. None of us had Ben Davies starting, and nobody would have picked Ridvan Yilmaz to start at left back. I know Michael spoke about it pre-match, and suggested us that Ben has waited his time. He's had a difficult start to the season, finally getting his chance. And as you say, I thought it was really solid today. Yilmaz, I thought, was very quiet. It took maybe 5, 6, 7 minutes for him even to get a touch of the ball. It felt everything came down the Rangers right, and I think it took a long time for Yilmaz to actually get into it. And probably even then, as the game went on, I thought he did get slightly better, but hard to really see how much it really influenced the game. Again, it's match minutes and it's time under his belt, which can only be a good thing for him. But I don't think it's a case of I'm definitely going to start next weekend. Obviously, can't play on Thursday night. He's not in the squad. But I don't think he's really staked a claim. I thought Ben Davies has staked a claim. I thought he was, as you say, he was solid. And while it's still 1-0, St Johnstone getting free kicks, a couple of penalty shouts, the ball's going across the box. How many times have we seen that particular movie for Rangers? We've seen goals conceded in those situations so often. But I thought they did manage to get through it fairly well, and a clean sheet on the back of the one up at Ross County a couple of weeks ago. It's certainly a positive for the manager to take.
Yeah, there was that one moment Davies had a header. I don't know actually if it might have been called offside in the kind of subsequently it went in the back of the net, but he had a really good defensive header in the second half. And Rangers could have went 2-0 up earlier. Kemar Roof, who just can't seem to score 2 games in a row. We've not said that very much. Obviously had the goal chopped off in the Old Firm. Had another one chopped off today. Sima came on for Danilo, who I guess firstly important to touch on Danilo. I thought that showed you. Let me drop my phone. I thought that showed you exactly what he's good at and why he's been brought to the club. He gets in between 2 centre backs. He arrives in the box and he's able to score kind of unmarked. Takes a really sore one for his troubles. Good to see that both clubs taking head knock seriously. Though I think St Johnstone used their concussion sub, and Danilo, I don't think there's any chance he was going to continue. But your thoughts on Danilo, Chris? It could be a costly injury if he's out for a while. And I guess the thing you can't really ignore for me is the Dessers has started 7 or 8 games out of 9, but then he doesn't come off the bench. Sima comes off the bench. So I guess that question of does Beale know his starting 11 does rumble on, because although I thought Sima came on and had a pretty good impact, all things considered. Unfortunate with that goal that's chopped offside because he was really composed. But again, it's probably a little bit of indecision as to who actually starts up top in midweek against Betis.
I think that's a fair point on Dessers. There was a point a couple of guys made in the press box here, evident within seconds that Danilo wasn't able to continue, unfortunately, and I just assumed that it would be Dessers that would come on and be more of a like for like. I thought Sima, much like his Rangers career so far, showed flashes and spells. He's direct, he's clearly got pace, but it's Matondo who's direct and got pace, who actually has a finishing product once again. On Danilo, I think out of all the things we've seen of him so far, that kind of summed him up. It's good movement, it's good intuition to be in the right place at the right time. He was aware of how the attack was unfolding. Showed a lot of bravery because he must have known as he got his connection on the ball, he must have known he was going to take a sore one. And the manager confirmed in his press conference, unfortunately, that he's away for surgery on his cheekbone. Who knows how long that could be? If it's best case scenario, we're talking a couple of weeks. It might be a case he has to wear a mask if a few weeks after that.
Yeah.
But it almost sums up Michael Beale's luck at present. Now he finally gets Danilo on the squad. He mentioned his pre-match on Friday. Mentioned again ahead of the game today that Danilo's in the right place physically and mentally. He's mentioned he's had a couple of issues there, unspecified ones over the last couple of weeks. But the manager clearly felt this was the afternoon for Danilo to really come of age as a Rangers player, if you like. 15 minutes in, gets his goal, and you think it's all great. And then it becomes evident within seconds that he's not going to be able to continue, and he has taken a really sore one. So fingers crossed, it's not that serious. But in the back of losing Todd Cantwell, the back of losing Kieran Dowell, you then go and lose a goal threat, your main summer signing. That's certainly the main negative to take away from today, especially heading into such a crucial run of fixtures. We've spoken about how important this run is for Rangers, how important it is for the manager. He needs performances, he needs results. Danilo was going to be a big part of that. But as with every injury and every player that drops out, it's a chance now for somebody else to come in, whether that's Sima getting a run through the middle, whether it's Dessers coming back into the team. These guys now have to step up in the manner that Danilo did during that first quarter of an hour.
Tom Lawrence, a player that you and Derek's both really like. I think it's fair to say. I think a lot of people really like Tom Lawrence. His press conference was interesting, Chris, because quite often when you sit with players, they don't give much away. I thought you could see with Lawrence, he firstly came across as quite a genuine guy, nice to deal with, but you could see how much it meant to him being back. You could see when he was asked questions about his year out, asked him about that, and he kind of laughed back, how long have you got? He's had a difficult time ever since he arrived at the club, and to see him get 90 minutes and make that impact, although he's still obviously getting up to speed, that is a positive out of today, because it looks like finally Rangers fans are going to get to enjoy watching Tom Lawrence over a kind of concerted period of time, and it was a fantastic pass for Matondo to score the second.
That's the kind of thing that he can bring to the team. Out of all the midfielders, he's one of them that's got that drive. He plays with his head up. We saw last season in the games that he played at the start of the campaign, he's got an eye for goal. He can be a real threat. He can be a real asset. Again, as we spoke about in the press conference analysis video yesterday, he's someone that the manager has repeatedly referenced over the course of the summer and over the course of the rebuild. He's clearly someone that the manager has a bit of faith and a bit of trust in. It's a lot to ask him to go and play 90 minutes away at St Johnstone after only coming off the bench against Ross County and Celtic. I thought he handled it well. A bit slow and a bit lack of sharpness at times, but it's minutes under the belt. Certainly do him good. Also not going to. I don't think we'll see him start in midweek. I don't know if he can play here and then be asked to go and play again. It's also going to be a different type of game. Wouldn't be surprised to see Ryan Jack perhaps come in the midfield, have a bit more of a solid feel about it rather than Tom Lawrence on Thursday night. But again, over these coming games like this now, it's nice to know that he is back, he is fit, he is available, clearly got the bit between his teeth, as you say. And with Cantwell and Dowell out, he's the type of guy that can come in and really make that position in the middle of the park his own over the next few weeks.
Just before we touch on the big picture and let you get back down the A9, the Rabbi Matondo redemption arc continues. We've got a long read, which, as you said to me, Chris, I've incidentally timed well. That's in the description. You can read it on the website with his manager when he was in Belgium. It's where he played his best football. Cercle Bruges manager Miron Muslik. He looks a different player this season, Chris, and I think there's still an evolution for him to become a starter and how he fits into what Rangers are doing because they play so much of their football on the right. I think that's still a question. But coming off the bench now, his impact feels quite sustained. And again, when I was speaking to Miron in that piece, he spoke about, firstly, how important confidence is to him as a player. Secondly, how much better he is on the left than the right. And thirdly, spoke about that finish where he's trying to find the far pocket. He said it's something that he worked on with Rabbi when he was out in Belgium for a year. Instead of trying to always find the top corner, he called it the Thierry Henry finish, trying to find the bottom corner. And I think, as you said, I think as Michael Beale said in this post-match interview, that's maybe a chance that Matondo would have earned with his pace last year, but not necessarily scored. And again, he's a positive because I think he's a player who does look like he's playing with a lot more confidence this season.
If Rabbi Matondo turns out to be an integral part of this Rangers side, I wouldn't be the only one that's eating humble pie over the course of the season.
Deleting a few tweets, yeah.
And trying to raise a few conversations I've had with guys as well. Last season, I just didn't see it with him. I could see he's also got raw pace, clearly had a profile, clearly must have had something when he was coming through to play for the clubs that he has and get the moves that he's had in his career. Rangers must have signed him for a reason. I just didn't see how he fitted into a Rangers side. I think occasions like this afternoon where the game opens up a wee bit, he's then going to have that space to operate in behind. That clearly suits him. There's going to be a number of games this season, particularly Ibrox, I think, they're just not going to be the type of fixtures that are going to suit his skill set and what he can bring to the team. Thursday night is a very different game. Thursday night might be the type of occasion where it suits him. Great pace, can get in behind. And if he can combine those attributes with a finishing touch, Rangers then do have a player on their hands. I know the manager mentioned it towards the end of the transfer window about how he wanted a Ryan Kent replacement, and then said a couple of days later that Rabbi's kind of redemption, as you've primed it, that's going to change his mind. I don't think he's a like for like replacement for Ryan Kent. He's got a long way to go to be as influential as Ryan Kent was over a sustained period of time. But that's a couple of goals now. It's a couple of good appearances off the bench. I thought even in the Old Firm game, he certainly wasn't the worst performer. So there's definitely something there. Definitely something there for the manager to work on. Time will tell where this improvement can take him. If he turns out to be a player, great. If he turns out to not be a player, I'm one of the ones that told you first.
But lastly, the big picture. I think that first half, Chris, is a first half where, if you're in a habit of winning and you've got a team that's maybe quite mature and people know what to expect from them, then it's a good away performance. They've kept it tight, maybe not created that much, but there's a second half to go. Rangers aren't in that position yet, and I wrote in the colour piece for the game, the instant reaction, which you can read on the website and in the description as well, that they've just not quite earned the trust, I think, to make 1 or 2-0 games away from home comfortable. It's a step in the right direction, but it's only that. I think the defence looked good. I think you can see that the attack still needs to click. And again, the only way that you're going to build that consistency and earn that trust is by showing a bit more on the ball, which I guess will still take time. But totaling up these wins, as you've said repeatedly in pieces, I think Rangers need to be perfect, near perfect in these 7 games they've got in the next 22 days. And Thursday night's going to be completely different. That's an occasion to try and lift the mood, because Betis are a strong outfit, finished, 6th in La Liga last season. But there'll be expectation from the home support going to Ibrox, and they need a couple of entertaining nights this season to get them excited, don't they?
I think the result today certainly changes the dynamic a bit on Thursday night. If it hadn't gone well this afternoon, the pressure on the manager would obviously have ramped up again. There'd been more noise about it. You know how the pre-match pressers, I think, would be dominated. I think then this just cools everybody down a wee bit, takes a bit of heat out of the situation. I don't think we should be expecting Rangers to go and roll Betis over on Thursday night. As you say, Josh, Betis are a good side, get some good players, a vastly experienced manager. They'll be coming to Ibrox expecting to win the game. They'll be expected to go and win the section. And I think it's all about the performance as well as the result. Once again, if Rangers can get a result, what a lift that then gives everybody again, and then sets us into the next batch of domestic games. Even if they don't get the win on Thursday night, a lot of it comes down to the manner of it. If they had lost 2-1 in Eindhoven and put up a really good performance, going out of the Champions League wouldn't have been a disaster. It was the manner of it that really hurt, and the manner of it that really piled the pressure on to go out in that fashion. If they're to go and lose heavily to Betis on Thursday night, again, it raises different questions about the manager and the players and where this team is heading. If they lose narrowly and there's a bit of fight about them, there's a plan, there's a bit of threat, they don't look overawed by the occasion, that's then something to then take in. So as much as we say every game's a must win and every game is a must win, the manager needs wins right now, I think on Thursday night, this result has just changed the dynamic a wee bit in Michael's favour. And it really has to be a case of onwards and upwards from this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, Chris, we're going to let you get down the A9. There's loads of content across the website, across the YouTube channel. You're going to have Chris's take on the game tomorrow. We'll have all the analysis, as usual, on the website, and lots more content to come. I'm away for a week, thankfully, for a lot of people. Maybe I'm away on holiday, so it'll be Chris and Ewan on Monday. Derek will be back. Loads of content this week to build up to Betis and then Motherwell at home. Until then, thanks very much for watching, and we'll speak to you soon. Bye for now.